All right guys, so here's what we got going on today. So what I've been doing in the past is I've got green lights, I've got white lights, I've got the GPS on there. I've gotten great response, great questions from all y'all about how everything's set up, but I'm gonna change it up a little bit today. So what we have now is the 9Ti. I've got my video on how to do that install, how to do that little bracket right there. But what I've been doing is charging these little deer feeder batteries, right? So I've been charging a set of deer feeder batteries for the old Hook 7. I've been charging deer feeder batteries for the green lights. And now I need a bigger battery for that 9Ti. So what I've done is I've gone and bought a lawnmower battery. That lawnmower battery I've just been throwing in the front hatch, but now I'm gonna set it up right back here. However, that does bring an issue. I now need to get power from the front all the way to the back. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna run that power so it can run everything. It can run the lights, the green lights, and the GPS. So stay tuned guys, and we're gonna go over how to do that. All right guys, so we're running up to the store. We need to grab a couple things real quick. What we're looking for right now is I need some more wire because I have to extend the power source all the way the length of the Kayak. So I need to get that. I need to get some more heat shrink so that once I solder these connections, I can cover them up and they stay nice and waterproof. And then I got another little project kind of going on that has nothing to do with fishing or kayaking, but it also involves wiring and soldering and all that. So I need to get a couple of four-way trailer connections for that as well. So hopefully I'll be able to pick that up at the same time. So let's run up there real quick. All right guys, so let's get started. So we just got back from the store and we picked up just a couple things we needed, pretty basic stuff. So what we went and got was automotive wire. This is gonna be 30 feet, 16 gauge. It's probably a little thick. I probably could have gotten away with 18 gauge, but they didn't have it in stock. So I got red and black of 30 feet of that wire. I got some heat shrink. Of course, I've got my solder gun and my solder. I happen to already have that. So, oh, and then of course, you're gonna need this very high-tech tool, especially if you got the Attack. They're hard to come by. You won't find it really in any store, but it's a straight coat hanger. So run upstairs or run to your closet, grab yourself a wire coat hanger. You're gonna need this. There's only one access panel, and that's underneath the seat here on the Attack. So you're going to be able to reach up, and I know I personally can't reach that far, so got myself a straight coat hanger. That way I can reach in there and pull those wires back. So, overview again of what we're doing. We're taking the power wire that already exists on the Lowrance. We're gonna cut it off so that the fuse is located in the back. We're gonna run it in. I'm gonna put the connection in right here, and I'm gonna be using this guy. You can pick these up at the automotive store. It's a 2-wire connection. It comes in a solid piece. You cut it right in the middle, and now you got a male to female and a female to male connection. So this way I can unhook the Lowrance real quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and wire that in. That's gonna go here. We'll put a little clamshell over the top of that, keep it nice and dry. Of course, we'll back that with silicone. We'll pull the wire down all the way to the back of the Kayak to where I'm gonna go ahead and make my connection back there so that I have the lights, the GPS, and the green lights all connected together. Make it nice and easy. Of course, they'll still operate on their independent switches, and life will be good, right? So let me go ahead and get started on that. All right, so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna go ahead and take the power wire. I went ahead and cut it, so now I need to go ahead and splice it and get that piece pulled out. And you can see I've got my other side here of wires, and I'm gonna hook that up to the connection in the back. But I'm gonna start at the front and work my way back on this project. So on your power wire here, you have the heavy outside insulator, followed by, and you need to get that off so you can see what's going on inside of it. So once you do that, you're gonna see you've got your 3 wires. You got red for hot, black for ground, and yellow for like a remote if you're gonna run it to like the ignition or anything to that effect. I will not be running the yellow one, but I am gonna be running the black and the red. All right. So now, red to red and white to black is how we're gonna set this up. All right, so once I've got that solder connection on there, slide that heat shrink over, go ahead and do exactly what it's supposed to. Heat it up, and it will shrink around that connection for you. All right, so now we got that taken care of. Next thing I'm gonna do, go ahead and do the other side. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in high speed because once you've seen it once, you don't need to see it 4 times. All right, so now we've got our clean connection. This is gonna go power source into the GPS. This is gonna hook up, and it's gonna go right through that wall right there. All right, so we're gonna set that one aside. Now what we need to do, we need to go ahead and make our wiring harness to go all the way from the back, all the way to the front, and put the other connection on the other side. So let's get started. So one of the things I like to do, and this is very difficult to do by yourself, but I like to put these 2 wires together in a drill bit, and then I like to twist them together. So what I have to do is, since I'm by myself, is I need to put one on each side of the kayak here. And I'm gonna hold the drill, and I'm gonna do it right here at the nose. So as you can see, and what that does is it gives me a really, really clean look to the wires. So I'm gonna finish that up real quick while y'all hang out, and we'll get going here. All right, guys, so what we need to determine now is where we're gonna put the hole. So what I've decided is the wires come out the back. I'm gonna put the hole right here. I wanna keep it as high as possible, and I still wanna have access to the inside of the kayak. So by putting it here, it stays on the outside of that scupper hole, and ought to line up pretty much with these wires so I can make a pull all the way to the back there. So we're gonna go ahead and drill a hole that's big enough to get these wires plus that heat shrink through, and then we're gonna go ahead and send it and pull it all back. So one of the things I did do, I pulled the seat out so I have easy access to this hatch, but we're gonna go ahead and continue all the way to the back. So let's go ahead and knock that out real quick. I'm gonna give you another little tip here. When you're drilling a hole in a kayak for like a wire, whether it be lights or a GPS or anything like that, you want to do 2 things when you drill that hole. One, you want it at an angle. I see a lot of people just go straight in like that. Well, all that does is that means that wire's going in and then having to make a 90-degree turn when it comes down. So my wire will be going back. So what I want to do with that hole when I drill it is I don't want to drill just straight this way, because God forbid I drill all the way through on accident, but I want to drill down at an angle. So that's going to do a couple things for me too. That's going to allow the wire to kind of get a head start, and then second, it's also going to help with water wanting to run and drip. Now granted, we'll have a little piece of plastic over the top that'll help to protect that, but it's going to help out with the situation. So we know we have a good spot right there. You do have to kind of give it a start the other direction. So there it is. Quick and easy, and it's got that nice taper headed in the right direction. So now that I've got my wires back here, I am going to go ahead and tape these together, and you can see I've got this large loop. Well, that's the loop that I'm going to use to grab it with the coat hanger, so that's going to work out just fine. I'm going to go ahead and trim this down real tight. Let me get it taped up, and we'll start feeding the wires through. All right, pretty straightforward. It felt like it fed real nice and easy. So what we're gonna do now, open up this access panel, because this is the only spot I've got to be able to get inside this kayak. Pull this guy out. I'm gonna happen to reach in there. I feel the old wires for sure. Don't quite see the new ones. So I'm gonna walk to the other side real quick, see if I can't see it from the opposite side. and just feed it right toward the direction that you know that wire is going to be laying. And there we go, guys. So I'm going to pull all that slack out. Now that I've got it, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send it the other way. All right, so that was easy enough, right? Got it on the third try. So now, if you'll remember, we taped the end, we got the loop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the other end, close that loop right there, and I'm going to put a zip tie all the way around it. So now, what I can do, instead of fishing and fishing and fishing for it, I'm just going to send the wire down toward the back and make my life a lot easier. Of course, I still got that little triangle point, which means it will feed nice and straight for me. All right, so now that we're at the back of the kayak, all I got to do is reach through. I can see that white hanger. Just start to give that a tug. There it is, sure enough. And just pull all the slack out. That's all there is to it. All right, so now I've got my new wire run for my GPS. I've got my old wire run for my lights. You can see where my connection is. I want them about the same length. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to splice these wires together, and then I'm going to add the connection with the inline fuse to go to the battery. And then that battery will just sit down in there. Now, of course, I want to make sure to leave myself enough slack. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the same length that I already have the connections for the battery at. That way, I know I have ample space, it's easy. I'm not reaching in there trying to hook this up to the battery. Plus I got all that wire that I'm gonna be hooking up on the inline fuse. So let me get started. I'm gonna go ahead and tape these together just so I don't drop them back in the kayak and have them slide back down. And then once I do that, go ahead and cut all my connections and hook them together. All right, so we're gonna use a little bit different type of connection back here on this side. We will not be soldering these together. And the reason is because I'm putting all of the connections at the same time. So what I've got are heat shrink butt connectors. So what this will allow me to do is, now that I've got them twisted together, I can take the two of the one side, slide them in together at the same time, and crimp those down. Let me grab my other crimpers. All right, so I got my other crimpers. I just like the way these crimp a little bit better. I have more confidence in them. They got the little markers, so I got a blue one, so I'm gonna go ahead and get just off of the edge. You don't wanna be right on that edge. Crimp down, give it a little tug so you know, hey, that's on there. I don't have to worry about it. All right, so now on to the other one. Again, pull, rock solid connection. All right, and those are heat shrink, so now we will heat shrink those down. Do not point this in the direction of your kayak. It gets hot. Okay, so hold it up away from the kayak the best you possibly can. You do not want to melt your kayak. All right, so now we got a solid connection. So what I have right here is my battery. I'm gonna go ahead and hook that up real quick. All right, got that connected up. So the first thing we'll do is we're gonna go ahead and test lights first. So you can kind of see my light over there. So my deck lights are working just fine. Green lights are working just fine. All right, so now we need to actually hook up the GPS and make sure I'm getting power there. And sure enough, we've got power. So you can see it's starting to go through its startup menu. So we were able to go ahead and hook everything up just fine. I got enough slack. That's gonna work out. Let me go ahead and power this guy back down. All right, guys, so that's it right there. That is a successful hookup running one battery, minimizing everything I've been doing, and now I've got it all on one. I've got my white lights on the deck, I've got my green lights up front for fishing, and now I've got my TI9 all hooked up on this one battery. The battery I'm using right now is the Magnum Power Pro. It is a lawnmower battery from Lowe's. It cost me $43, but here's what's amazing about it. It has got 365 cold cranking amps, maintenance free, all that good stuff, And it is, let's see if it says what the, it doesn't tell me how many amp hours it has on it. I know it's something ridiculous because it was on the tag. But this thing's run for 2 days straight and I haven't had to worry about it. And that's running a 9-inch side scan GPS. So it's not that heavy. I'd say it weighs maybe 25 pounds, 20 pounds. So it's a perfect range. It's a small size. So it works out great. It fits in that back compartment. So all I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna clean everything up, go ahead and put the seat back on, get the wires tucked away. And that's all there is to it, guys. I mean, that's a great quick mod and everything worked out great. All right, so as I get cleaned up here, you know, if you've got any questions, you want to know what it is exactly I did, how I did it, you know, please ask in the comments. You know, I want to do whatever I can to help you out. If you're interested in the white lights or the green lights, go ahead, and I've got other videos out there that you can reference where I've posted those up in the past, kind of showing exactly what I did, the wiring. I've got a video on how I soldered all this stuff together. That's on my green lights video, so if you're curious about that, you know, please check that one out as well. Otherwise, just comment below about your questions. If you liked the video, give me the thumbs up. Don't forget to share this with a friend. Maybe he's working with a battery situation. He's trying to get it figured out, or he's trying to relocate his battery. You know, go ahead and share that with him. Don't forget to subscribe down in the corner down there. It really helps to support the channel. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching.